Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another Over the Top Talk interview. Here with my co-host Anthony,
How we doing?
and we're joined here today by Kylie Harrison. How we doing today?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing
We're great,
fantastic, thank you.
great.
We're just gonna start with our quick sponsor. Thank you, SeatGeek. For anyone that uses SeatGeek, if you use our code Over the Top Talk, you'll get $20 off your first order, and I'll pass it on to Anthony for our next one.
Yep, and a special guest to Rogue Energy. Use code over the top talk and get 10% off your order. And thank you again to Rogue Energy.
Okay, so we'll hop into the questions now. Our first one for you, Kylie. Obviously you're 18, correct?
I'm 16.
16. Um,
Yes.
obviously is is being so young a challenge when you're wrestling? Like,
I would, for me, say it is because I looked all over the place for wrestling companies that will take me because of my age. So where I live currently is 6.5 hours from where I train at because
Oh, wow.
nobody around where I live will take me because of my age. So that's also a struggle. And then the place that I do train at, I'm not allowed to take bumps yet until I'm 17 for safety issues. So it is kind of challenging being so young, but I am also able to work around it, as you can tell, because I've been the 2-time rookie champion. So
Hmm.
it's definitely challenging, but it's all worth it if you really want it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Um, Going on with that, how did you start your wrestling career? Like, what inspired you to become a wrestler?
Um, what inspired me? I would say I remember back in 2016, I would watch wrestling with my grandfather, and I was like, oh my God, this stuff is like sick. Like, I love it. And then I just never stopped watching it. And it wasn't until I want to say 2022 where I decided that I want to be a wrestler. And I know my inspiration has to come from Rhea Ripley. She's really the reason why I like want to step in the ring and want to try something new. So that's my biggest inspiration when it comes to me being in the ring. And I also just thought, I mean, I'm not really the girl that wants to go do cheerleading or something. I kind of want to just go and be like the tomboy who beats people up. So that's
Hmm.
kind of where I come from. So
Yeah,
that's
that's really cool.
that's what would you say is like the toughest part about wrestling for you?
the toughest part about wrestling would have to be your own thoughts that go through your mind. There has been multiple times where I thought that this isn't for me, and like if I have a bad day at training, I think like maybe I should go find something else, and like the negativity that comes with it from your friends and family that don't support you, like you just have those thoughts about am I doing the right thing? But knowing that I've been wanting to accomplish this dream since I want to say 7 years old.
Mhm.
That's the drive that pushes me to keep doing this, and I know that I'm like doing the right thing. But the toughest thing about the career that I'm choosing is really overthinking, because overthinking can be your worst enemy when it comes to what you want to do.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I know you already answered this with Rhea Ripley being your idol, but do you think you have any other wrestling idols?
Um, yeah. I really take after Tiffany Stratton. She's one of those up there. We
Hmm.
kind of come from the same gymnastics background, so I really take a lot of inspiration from her. Rhea Ripley, of
Hmm.
course. I My childhood hero was Becky Lynch, so she's also another one. So those are like the three main ones that I really look up to when it comes to the wrestling industry.
Yeah, that's really
There's
cool. Really
definitely
is.
some good choices. With that, is there any wrestlers that have inspired your like move set, like signatures, finishers?
Yeah, I do the moonsault and I do twisted bliss. So those are my two finishes that I really enjoy doing. Obviously, Twist Bliss. And then my moonsault can be from like all different types of wrestlers that do it, but I really take after Tiffany on that one. So
Yeah.
those are my 2 ones.
Yeah. That's really yeah. What's your favorite wrestling match or moment that you've had?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
No problem. What's your favorite wrestling match or moment that you've had?
My favorite wrestling match?
Yeah.
Um, that's a tough one. Oh my gosh, I have so many. Ooh. I think right now it would have to be Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, I would say, at
Mhm.
Elimination Chamber right now. That'd be a
Yeah,
good
that's a yeah, that's a really good choice. That's a really good choice.
I know, I stayed up all night watching it. So I would have to say
Yeah.
that one. It was great.
Yeah, that was a great match.
Um, back to you. How do you prepare mentally and physically before one of your matches?
Um, I really just try to keep to myself before my matches so I can worry about the stuff that I have to perform. I like to keep quiet and just go over what I'm trying to accomplish in my match. That's what I do mentally. Physically, I kind of just stretch around. I'll do some push-ups here and there just to make sure I look good before I go out. Um, but yeah, that's typically what I do for a match. I'm pretty chill. I don't
Yeah.
really stress about it.
Kind of going off with that, do you have any like pre-match superstitions that you do?
Any pre what? I'm sorry.
Pre-match superstitions?
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it kind of goes on with the same thing, like routines that like, you kind of go through.
Oh, routines. Oh yeah. Honestly, any routines before a match? I try to. What do I do? I don't know. I try to like do the same thing. Like I'll go like the day of the show. I'll train with my coach a little bit, and then I'll go back to the hotel and I'll eat something, and then I'll work out a little bit, and then I'll get ready and leave for the event that night. So that's typically what I would do. I don't think I really have a routine. I don't know.
Hmm. Cool.
Obviously, you said you have two championship wins, correct?
Yes.
Um, I guess who has been your most challenging opponent so far?
Oh, you broke in and out. I'm sorry.
Oh shoot. Who's been your most challenging opponent so far?
Ooh, my most challenging opponent. I would have to say when I faced. Oh. When I faced Axel Hendricks and JC Black at the same time for the championship. That one was really challenging for me because they're both two really great competitors and they've
Yeah.
had a little bit more experience than I have. So I would have to say those two at the same time. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. Um, Kind of going off with that, how do you stay motivated and consistent with your wrestling career?
I stay motivated by the idea, and it might sound cringy, but by the idea that I want to make Rhea proud because I've met her twice now, and every time I tell her about how far I was going, like the last time I was talking to her, I was like, I have a debut match, and she was like, well, you can do it and all this stuff. She was just giving me really good encouragement, and I just want to really make her proud and show her that the younger generation is coming up and we can be just as good as everybody else. um, and to make her proud. And to my dream is to step in the ring with her one day. So I'm gonna try to do
Hmm.
everything in my power to get to that. So that's my biggest motivation.
That's really cool. That is really cool.
How would you say you handle a loss? Like every time you lose?
I don't like losing. So
Mhm.
I will kind of beat myself up over it for a little bit. I'll be angry at myself for letting my opponent take the win, but I will pick myself up after I kind of whine about it for a little bit. I'll pick myself back up. I'll get back in the gym. I'll train even harder so I can prove to them why I'm better than I last was whenever I stepped in the ring with them.
Yep. Yep. And kind of going off with him what he's saying. Um, with someone else who wants to be a wrestler, like, what advice would you give them to like prepare for that?
I would tell them to not listen to what anybody else says. Because if you
Hmm.
listen to other people and their negativity, then that's going to get you nowhere. Follow what your heart wants. If your heart wants to be a wrestler, then do everything in your power to become a wrestler. If somebody tells you you can't do something, then that's going to put the mentality in your brain that you can't do it. So don't listen to the negativity that's being brought to you. Just listen to yourself and throw
I think
Do we? No, she's
we're
back.
good now. We're good. All right. All right. When you got
What would
this
you
one.
say is your dream with this sport?
My dream would be to make it as far as I can before I can no longer wrestle anymore. There's so many dream like matches I want to have. I want to be in the main event of WrestleMania. I want to be in a Hell in a Cell match. I want to just be the best that I can be.
Yeah.
We kind of ripped through these, so we'll give the floor to you now. If you want to shout out any socials or like matches you have coming up, we'll give it to you.
Yeah, I would like a shout out. I would like to give a shout out to Slyn Wolf. She's the person I last she challenged me for my title. She's always encouraging me to be the better version that I can be. Same with my coach, Chase and Rance. He always is pushing me to be the best version that I can be of myself and always listening to everything that I have to say. If I'm not comfortable doing something, then we can always switch it up. He's really there. He gives me great advice and he makes me feel that I belong, if that makes sense. He's always making me feel reassured if I'm thinking that nothing's gonna go the way that I want it to be. So he's definitely somebody that inspires me. But yeah, Selena is one of my best friends, and she's always a positive attitude when it comes to stuff like this. And if I always have like a trouble or a problem, then I can always run to her, and she'll give me her greatest opinion. And I love being in the ring with her. She's awesome, and she's new just like me, so we can always go back and forth giving each other tips and advice. So those are the two main people that I want to shout out because they really have helped me a lot with my wrestling career.
That's awesome.
Of course. I think that's all we have today. We thank you for coming on here.
Yeah.
I
Thank you
thank
so
y'all for
much.
having me.
No problem.
Our
Thank you for
pleasure.
having me.
With obviously we'll wrap this up. Thank you everyone for watching. And we'll see you guys soon.